this is Amy. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to be painting a 20-ounce white wine glass, and I'm going to be starting with a base coat of the enamel glitter, which is by FolkArt, and this is actually made for glass painting. I am doing this, and then I'm going to be doing a pansy design over the top of it. The colors I'm going to be using will be Moon Yellow, which is a multi-surface paint, Sunflower, which is a FolkArt enamel, Citrus Green, which is a FolkArt multi-surface paint, and this one is Violet Pansy, FolkArt enamel, Thicket, which is also for FolkArt enamel, and then Wicker White. Now if you're new to my channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and then the little bell next to it to get notifications whenever I post something new. That way you'll be alerted and you'll be aware when I have something that I've actually posted on my channel. If you like this video, once I'm done with it, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family. I would appreciate it. It'd help me grow my channel. Alright, so I am using, to do the base coat, my favorite brushes for, basically for single color painting. This is a 3/8 Glass Art by Dynasty number 71. For the pansies that I will be painting, I'm using a number 12 flat brush, which is a one-stroke brush, and then a number 4 round brush for some of the detailing, and this is a Princeton Heritage Series brush. Alright, so let's get started. I am again just using this silver glitter. For this, I am not taping it off, just brushing it on, and I intend to have a very uneven ridge around the top of what I'm painting. It's not intended to be even by any means. I just want it to be kind of scraggly, because actually when this dries, it's pretty, I want to say pretty thin or light. I don't know how the correct word to describe it. So it's not going to be real noticeable, but it will give it some durability because of having a base coat. Looks like my little brush shut a little bit. Not very common with these. Anyways, so like I said, this is just the beginning part of it. I'm going to allow this some drying time, possibly even hit it with my heat gun so I can move on faster with the video. It's only a problem if you're allowing time in between coats is, being able to progress quickly with the video. I think it'll be a fun design, something that'll be again very pretty, make a great gift, make a great piece for you to drink your favorite wine out of. And I did do a video previously that tells you about picking the right wine glass. Which glass do I use for red and white? Now the smaller glasses that I paint on, the 10.5 ounces, those are basically just a kind of a generic type of wine glass, meaning that you can really drink just about anything out of it. And some people don't really care if they have a special glass. So, it's really up to you and what you're used to. And actually, since I did that piece, I used to just have the solo plastic cups and had people drink out of those. It just really wasn't, whatever. But then once I did that article, did some research for it, I'm like, oh, that's probably not really a good idea. Because a lot of people are really into their wines. I'm not much of a drinker, so it's funny that I like to paint these, but I have nothing against drinking. I just don't do it myself very much on occasion. So I hope you like this video. So this is the base coat, and if you've watched any of my other videos, I tend to do a lot more base coating now, just to give the glassware a little bit more durability. I really feel that if you put your paint on thinly, it's not going to be as durable as if you were to coat it a little bit thicker. Now you have to be careful that you don't go too thick with it. If you're into baking the glassware when it's finished, then you need to make sure that it's not too thick or it will bubble. And then you're going to look at it and be very upset. This particular paint does cure by air drying within 21 days. If you want to, if you have a design that's a little bit thicker and you're concerned about putting it in the oven, then I would just say, just air dry it. Now, curing doesn't mean that it's not dry to touch, because it will be dry to touch within, well, depending on how thick it is, within a few hours. I would typically give my glass, with this paint, you're supposed to give it at least an hour dry time, air time, before baking. So you really need to follow the manufacturer's information on the bottle of paint that you're painting with. There's a lot of different types of paint for glass on the market, so that's what I would highly recommend. And they're not all the same. They're definitely, a lot of them they just vary from one product to the next. I haven't tried any new products. I did try a lot of the different products when I first started painting on glass, and this ended up being, the FolkArt brands for glass ended up being my favorites, and it's just a matter of what you get used to. If you're new, I highly recommend that you try a lot of the different paints. Maybe buy a few colors of each, or a little bit at a time, whatever you can afford, and try it out. Because they definitely do not all behave the same, and you're going to find what works best for your type of painting, and then you'll be good to go. Alright, so that's all you have to do with that, is just give it a coat. And as you can see, like, this one is starting to dry, and it's just getting a real thin layer. You do want to keep some distance from the top where lips would come in contact, so that's why I'm doing that. I intended for it to be rough. I don't want it to be a straight line, just to give it a little bit more interest. That's me. If you want it straight line, put some tape around it, put some painter's tape around it, and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. Maybe, like I said, eventually hit it with my heat gun so that I can continue on painting the design. And hopefully you'll like the design, but keep in mind, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and we'll get going here on the design. Trying to get my camera to stop swinging. Sorry if it has a little movement. Alright, so this is just to show you the first glass that I finished. And look at the shine. I just love the little sparkles that that particular paint gives behind this design. So I went ahead and decided to allow this glass to dry overnight. When I tried to paint on it, I should have been able to do it because I did it with this one, but for some reason the paint just didn't seem to flow. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing that, not dealing with it. So I went ahead and allowed it to dry overnight. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start with this pansy first. I am double loading my brush. Now again, I am not a big one to follow the proper way of double loading a brush. So here it is. I'm going to have the design kind of off to the side a little bit as far as the design goes. And I'm just going to put more paint on here. For some reason, trying to get this to flow, it's kind of giving me fits on this background. Normally it's not hard to do, so I'm not really sure why it's behaving this way. Who knows, but I will keep going. Alright, so we're going to put another wiggle, 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 wiggle in here, and I'm going to go over it to define my shape a little bit more. And I had somebody say one time, it's just kind of like you're mopping the floor. Mop, 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 and pulling it. I hope that makes sense to you. Then I'm going to turn my glass, go about it this way. Make sure I'm staying on line here. And then go back and do the same thing. And again, it's not flowing real nicely. So I will come back and go over it again. Pulling it, pulling it, pulling it. I just want to make sure my ends are nice and neat. I think I stuck that in the white. This one's going to look a little different. I want to make sure I have that finished nicely on the edge there. Oh, I keep doing that, I keep sticking it in the white. Not sure where my head is. And then bringing it up. Now, if you feel like you can go this direction and line it up right, you can. I'm a lefty, so just, please keep that in mind. I think I dipped it again. Please keep that in mind. So if you're more comfortable, going this direction with it, you definitely can. And then bringing it up, that's fine too. And since I did that, kind of looks a little different than this side, so I'm going to go back over it, try to make it look similar at least. Alright, so then the next part that I'm going to do will be reversing and having the yellow on the exterior part. And I'm going to bring out, it's basically the same stroke, just maybe not as big. And then doing it over here too. And what I was going to say is just keep in mind that I am a lefty, so if I'm starting in one direction and you're thinking, man, that doesn't feel that comfortable, by all means switch it up and do it the direction that you feel most comfortable with. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so then we're going to put this part in. Do this again. And then I'm going to go over it, come back down, put this part in. And I do apologize, it's my air conditioning kicking on. I kind of do my videos down in my basement, so I guess that I apologize that it's a little noisy. But that's what it is. Alright, so there we go with that. Then I'm going to take my little liner brush, stick it in both of my greens. I just kind of stick, see I have a little bit of dark, stick a little bit of light, and then I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pull, kind of turn it, and then do the same over here. Got a little piece of white there, that's fine. Pull that in here. If I wanted a little bit pointier top, I can do that. And then pull that in here. Again, a You can go back over these if you don't like the shape of them. That's fine. And I'll do that over here, pull that here, and then you can take a band right here and just kind of go like that to finish it off. You can turn your brush and do a dot right here. And because I have, you know, some excess paint here, the dot isn't showing up real nicely. You can either allow it some more drying time or just leave it. Excuse me. You know, leave it like that if you wish. Alright, so then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use my smaller brush and then start picking up, and I'm trying to do this as similar as I originally did it, so that's why I'm looking at this design. Because that's the thing, like I said, if you're painting more than one in order to try to get them to look as similar as possible, it's nice to be painting them about the same time, you know, so that you have a reference to it. So I'm just kind of coming here and just doing some jagged lines and just bringing it in. And I can make it a little bit wider if I want to make it maybe even a little bit bigger. That's fine. And then what I'll do is flip it around, have the white on the top, and then I will just come back over it with some purple, and then just kind of wiggle it like this, just kind of up in there, and then, you know, pull it back. Alright, now the next one, the bottom one, is going to have, I just put that in too much there, it's going to have the purple and the white below it, and I'm going to kind of turn it this way and basically do the same thing. You know, it doesn't have to be as rigid, you know, but you can bring it in like that, and then I'll do like that, and then I'm going to have the yellow then on the bottom, and then I'm going to just basically doing the same strokes. When you vary the colors, it just gives it adds some interest to it when you do that. And as you can see, because I allowed it to dry, I think it actually gave it's a cleaner look than the first glass. Let me see what I had over here. I had those, and then I got to put that in. Let's see what I had over here. Okay, let me continue on then with the next part. And this part is going to be adding this pansy on there, which has the berry wine in it and the wicker white. Or wait a minute, no, it doesn't have wicker white. It has the, sorry about that, it has the sunflower in it. So you know the two combinations. And then this one is going to be tilted this direction. And basically I am just wiggling it, bringing it up, wiggling it, bringing it up, and down, and back down, and up, and back down, touch it up there, and back down. Alright, now for the remainder parts, we're going to be reversing it. So it's going to go up, up. I'm sorry, like I said, it's not, when you paint on glass normally it just flows very nicely, and for some reason with this it's not, and I think it's just because I put the coat that I put on it. So alright, so then let's go this direction. And it's just fun, just a fun little wiggle. It doesn't have to be real precise. Now on this next one, if you're able to continue it in one stroke, you can do that. I broke it up into two. So meaning like what I'm doing now would have just been just one solid stroke across the bottom. I ended up breaking it up so that there's actually two sections. So this is one, and then there's going to be two. Whoops, I did it backwards. Of course I did. I'm so awesome with that. Kind of bring it up into the next one, the next flower petal. There's so many different styles that you can do with the pansy, and this one I just happened to pick just a couple to show you. Alright, so there we have that one, and then I'm going to take my, sorry, rinse this out. Take my brush, and then I'm going to go down into this section here, do kind of an oval shape down here. And it's a little hard because, like I said, the paint is still wet, so you're going to see it like this. You know, again, if you have the time to do it and you want to wait for it to dry before you put the coats on it like I'm doing, more power to you. It'll probably end up being a definite cleaner look for you if that's what you end up doing. Alright, so here we go with this. Like I said, it makes kind of a neat color. This one probably isn't going to be quite the same shade, but that's okay. And then I'm going to dip into my Wicker White and do a part here where it just comes down and can be a little bit thicker. You can have a point if you want. Okay, so we have that, and then the finishing touch on this one is just to do a band of green over the top. So I'm just going to go like this with my brush and go over it. And I'm just going to do it again, fill it in a lot, and there you have it. Pretty easy, pretty easy. Alright, so then let's take a look at the flowers that are on this side of it. I'm going to go back to my number 12 flat brush and begin working with the flowers that I need to put on this one. And I'm just going to double load with white, some white, and that yellow underneath. And again, you know, you don't have to do as pointy of a leaf as I'm doing for these petals, but I don't know why. I just like them. You can do more rounded petals if you wish. That's fine too. And then you're going to do the yellow and then the burgundy here, and just kind of go over it again. And as I say, you can see that no matter what, they're not identical. They're just not. They're not going to be, but you want them to try to be similar if you're selling them as a set, so they make sense together. Hopefully that makes sense. So on this one, I'm going to kind of tote it like this. Do that up here. And just kind of break it out, and bring it back. And then the next one, the adder, is going to be the Wicker White and my purple that I'm using. It's very fun, very fun. And then I'm going to start here. Pull it up. Alright, so then I left a space here to throw that little beauty into it, which is definitely a bigger one, so I'm going to be going back with the yellow and the berry wine. Still using my smaller brush, having the yellow on the outside. Alright, so we're going to go like this, because it's a bigger flower. Let me do this. I think what I did is I did the sunflower actually and just tipped it with the darker color, so it was not quite as bold. I'm going to do a little bit more down this direction too. Like I said, you kind of have to eyeball your work and just, does it make sense? Does it look the way you want it to look? Everybody has different painting styles, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you one is better than another. Again, I kind of like the theory, if you're happy with it, then that's what matters. You know, if you're happy, if you're painting it for somebody else and they're happy with it, that's what matters. I keep floating off camera. I'm so sorry about that. So between having my camera going back and forth, making people sick, awesome, to having my camera, or me not being on camera, awesome. Just like, what the heck? Alright, so my next step then is going to be to add all these great colors together with the greenery. And I chose not to do anything fun on the stem, just leaving it the way it is. My first thing is going to be to double load with the citrus green and my Thicket green. So I basically double loaded. Alrighty, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but anyhow, double loading my number 12 flat brush with the two greens that I'm using, the Thicket and the citron green, or citrus green, excuse me. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is just go through and add my little stems to each one of these, I guess you want to say partial opened or buds, however you want to refer to them. And I'm just taking my flat brush and pulling it like that to get the little green parts. And then I'm just going to do just a little stem directly to the bigger of the two. And I just got some purple in here. I haven't had a real good night as far as things that I'm trying to achieve tonight. Nothing seems to be working right. So excuse me on this video, as this is kind of one I had some trouble on last night, so I went ahead and decided to let it rest overnight, giving it some more drying time. Alright, so I have those, and then I'm going to go back over here and continue on doing it to the rest of them. And it's just like you're just barely touching and pulling. You want to make it thicker, you can. I like to use the two different colors. You know, if you just want to fill it in, that's fine. And then going back and doing it to the same one here. Not the same one, giving it to this one. And then pulling it in there. And then here we go. Like that. And then bringing it down like that. Alright, just want to make sure I got them all taken care of. Looks like I do. Okay, so then the next thing I'm just going to do these really easy, I guess you'd call them one stroke petals, flowers, or not flowers, what am I trying to say, leaves. And you're just going to pull them very easily. And if you want, you can overlap the flower a little bit. Got a little bit of the burgundy in there or the berry wine, that's fine. And then a lot of times I'll just put just a real light little, like that, just to show kind of like the veining, the stem, just real easy. And then the same thing here. Again, I like a lot of leaves for the most part. If you're not a big leaf person, then don't do as many as I'm doing, because I do really like a lot of leaves. So that's something that I have to make sure that I really pay attention to, because I can get really heavy on the leaves. And I know this about myself, but then I know sometimes people don't like it, or they just don't want as many. So I've had that request too. Yo, you put too many leaves on here, and it's like, that's kind of my MO, right? For me, I didn't know it was that big of a deal, but for some people, you know, it is. Everybody's different. You know, what you look at and say, oh, that's not a big deal. For somebody else, it is. So you just have to really realize that you got to do what your customer wants, you know, to make them happy. Unless you don't care if they're ever a customer again, which that should not be your the way you do business. Should not, but I can't say that that's not, because some people are like that. Alright, so we'll add another little leaf right over here. Again, just to give it some interest. I love leaves. And this is just part of what I'm doing. I'm going to do the bigger ones here in a second. I think this glass really turned out nicely. If you like this glass, give me a big thumbs up down below. Make sure that if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, that you take time to do that before you move on. If you have any questions, let me know if you've ever painted this design before, if you like this design. Please feel free to comment below. Like I said, I'd like to hear from you. I like to interact. Any constructive criticism, always welcome. I think it's nice to learn from others, you know, as long as it's done properly. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, and it's okay if you don't like it. You know, that's the thing. You don't have to like everything that somebody does, and there might be times where you really like most of the videos that people do, but then there might be something that comes up that you're like, not so much. That's okay. Don't feel bad about it. It happens, and you know, it's something where you don't have to like everything somebody does. It's okay. Alright, enough about that. I just want to make sure I'm getting these pretty much in the same spots. And again, sometimes you make a petal bigger than what you did on the first one. That happens too. So just keep that in mind. A lot of that's very normal. You may not be able to fit as much in, or it may not be identical. That's why I always like to tell people, you know, they're hand painted. They will be similar but not identical. Unless you're doing a stencil and you have a pre-formed design, you know, make sure that that's quite clear. I also know people that have had issues with paint where people are not understanding. This is a hand painted item. This is not something that's printed on the glass, engraved on the glass. It can come off. You know, the paint is durable, but you do need to treat it with care. And that's just something too that you need to make sure that you're stressing. I know one of the groups I belong in that they do hand painted glass, the person was, I guess, had done a ton of mugs. I'm assuming coffee mugs, and said that she stopped doing them because apparently she was doing a lot of writing on them, and you know, they were durable but they didn't last like forever, and people were not heeding to the fact that she's telling them not to put them in the dishwasher, to hand wash them. Now, yes, the paint says that it's dishwasher safe, but you gotta keep in mind that even though it says that, it can still come off if you're not taking care of it and hand washing it. So I make sure that I've got everything I need on here. If you're not hand washing it, if you're using harsh detergent on it, or harsh kind of a cloth pad, whatever it is that you like to wash your dishes with, it can come off. But if you treat it like fine china, it'll be very durable for you and something you can use all the time. Alright, so here we go. I've got the two done, and just want to kind of go over them and show you the difference. Yeah, I mean, there's a difference in the two, but they're similar. Alright, well, I hope that you like these. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Again, make sure to let me know down in the comments if you like this video or not. I'd love to hear from you once again. And until the next video, make sure you share this with your family and friends. Have a good one, and I'll see you the next time.